I'm still thrown by the fact that a camping trip that was so planned out, even though we didn't have every night of where we were staying, we knew what area we were going to. We knew how to find boondocking. We had the RV ready for boondocking. So we were really in the mindset to boondock. And what keeps happening to us? Every time we have plans, we're not able to keep them. Something keeps happening to us.
Yeah, they get derailed.
So,
or whether it's something with the RV or somebody gets injured.
Or a storm.
Or a storm, or you get sick, or whatever it may be.
Or your RV gets totaled from a tire blowout.
Yeah, but that's just life. I mean, it's not scripted like a movie. You can't predict it. It's unpredictable. But luckily for us, because we have things in place in case something like this does happen, that's the good thing, because it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse of an outcome than what's currently happening.
So I think that's what we really want to share with you, is that you can have your trip totally planned out, but be prepared that it could totally be wiped out in a second. And then what are you going to do? All these kinds of things we've gone over in previous episodes. Hopefully those all fall into place for this time. We won't know for a little while. There was an emergency helicopter flight. Fingers crossed that'll be covered with the coverages that we have. But we needed to move on and decide what we were going to do. And heading back to New Mexico didn't seem really comfortable at the time, because the trauma hospital was in Vegas, which isn't that far from where we are.
We're just a couple hours from Zion, so we decided to shoot up near Zion National Park and hang out up here and see if it was any better than when we were here in October, because when we were here in October, it was miserable. It was a sea of people. It was like Disneyland.
So we wanted to come up here. We kind of had a little idea that if there was time in the Arizona desert itinerary, that it wasn't that far to come up and have a different experience up near Zion National Park than the one that Jamie just talked about back in October. We had that opportunity, whether we liked it or not. So we came on up here. Definitely a really healing experience for me. We've been able to not deal with crowds, not even dealing with Zion National Park at some points during this week with nobody anywhere that we could see. It's been really perfect.
Yeah, it reminds me of when we came here back in the late 80s, early 90s, when you could actually drive into the park. So they're not running the trams right now, so it's a perfect time to come up here. The weather was perfect. When we got into the higher elevations, we saw a little bit of snow, but it wasn't on the roads or anything like that. It was just off on the sides. But it's just been a 180-degree difference from the way it was back in October.
So now we have a nicer memory to make again of Zion National Park. This is an unusual winter for the whole Southwest. There has just not been enough snow or rain, and that isn't a good thing. But for us right now this week, it's been a perfect thing.
And the other thing is yeah, we've gone to Zion. This is our second time during this trip heading up towards Zion. We've also did a really nice drive when we went up through the tunnel and everything, and saw some neat stuff on that drive.
Zion right now. A few days ago, this wasn't part of the plan at all, but we're really happy to be able to go here in winter, and it's a stark contrast to being here last fall when it was so crowded. We made it to Zion, bruised but here.
Yeah, we're here.
We came here knowing we weren't going to do Zion the way we normally would. No big hikes, no packed days, just taking it as it came. And almost right away, we could feel the difference. The roads were quiet with hardly any cars, blue skies, warm winter air, and that feeling that the park wasn't rushing us anywhere. Back in October, this same place felt like the complete opposite. Crowds everywhere, full shuttles. So at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday in mid-October, we didn't have any luck getting a parking space inside the park. Now we'll Springdale, take the shuttle in, and then take a second shuttle up the canyon. Not only did we have no luck finding a parking space inside the park, but we also had no luck finding a cheaper space out here in Springdale. So we're paying 20 bucks to park in this dirt lot.
Enjoy your day. Thanks for riding with us.
This time, Zion National Park felt calm. We could drive to the viewpoints we remembered, take short walks, and sit for a bit in peaceful contemplation if that's what we felt like doing. Slowing down isn't always a choice, but sometimes it ends up being the best thing that ever happened. We're also here on a weekday. I think that made a huge difference from coming here on the weekend, even in the winter. It's so quiet that we can hear our footsteps on the pavement. We didn't stop to see the Court of the Patriarchs back in October. Now, looking at it with its towering cliffs rising straight out of the valley floor, we remember how it looked all those years ago. No crowds, just the time to stop and look around and really take it all in. So a little tough walking up here. I'm out of breath. There's a little bit of elevation here too. Jamie had to help me walk up, but this is really beautiful. Really worth it. Honestly, this is just so beautiful here right now. This is more how we remember Zion from visiting in the 90s. Coming here in the fall was really disappointing with all the traffic and all the people. The government was shut down, so the park was free, which really added to how many people were here. But now, it's perfect. No shuttles, no cars. One of the advantages of visiting Zion in the off-season is access to places you don't see during shuttle months. This pullout isn't an official stop, but when the shuttle isn't running, you're allowed to park here and take a closer look around. From this spot, you can see Angel's Landing above the canyon, and just below, the Virgin River winding through the valley. There's no sign marking the way, but a well-worn path leads down to the river, making this a quiet place to walk and experience Zion from a different angle. We parked at the Temple of Sinawava and walked down to the river. This is one of the best places in Zion to get right up close to the water, especially at this time of year. The Virgin River flows year-round through the park and is responsible for carving Zion Canyon over millions of years. In winter, it's a much quieter experience. With the fewer people and no shuttle crowds and plenty of spaces to stop and walk along the river, you can take photos without someone photobombing every shot. This is the river walk that goes towards the Narrows.
There's just not enough time. So I have a lot of stuff that
So everyone's done what we decided to do. We took the shuttle bus to the end to stop number 9. Everybody has to get off the shuttle bus here at stop number 9. So even though there's a long line to get back on it to go down, it's an empty bus at that point. The only negative is everybody came up here to 9, which means we're just crawling among ants to do the Riverside Walk all the way up to the Narrows. We're not going to go through the Narrows. So I'll show you walking among a million people. So we were last here 30 years ago. We came here several times. It's just like the Grand Canyon that we started going to 30 years ago. And the last time we went was a couple years ago, and it was just a mass of people. And now Zion is just a mass of people.
Yeah, and the thing that's a bummer is you got to ride the shuttle. Okay, I understand that, to keep the car traffic down and all that. But when you're riding the shuttle, all the neat things that you want to see, you can't see because you're sitting in a shuttle.
Yeah.
When you drove your car, you used to be able to see everything.
Right.
And there was a lot more pullouts. But
feel,
the shuttles don't do that.
No, I feel like we missed out on seeing all of that I remembered. Being able to look up Canyon there.
Yeah.
You know, the bus driver tells you about it, but the bus is packed, so you can't see across.
Yeah, and the windows,
They're
not big. I mean, when you're looking out the windshield of your car,
you can look up.
It's massive. I mean, you can see everything. When you're sitting in a shuttle, you can't see nothing. So it's kind of... Zion's still probably my favorite park because of the beauty of it. But as far as all the people and how it's run now, pretty disappointing. You have to come actually during the winter time,
right,
where you can drive your cars, not having to take the shuttle. And it would be beautiful then, because hopefully there'd be snow on the hills, and that would be really pretty.
There's no one here. So many unexpected things in our travels have given us the opportunity to visit places that are normally so crowded when nobody's there. We had that with COVID. We were at the Grand Canyon and felt like we were the only ones there. Hold on, what do you think?
Well, I mean, this is the way we experienced it when we first came here back in the late 80s. And it was, when we came in October, I was really disappointed because Zion's one of my favorite parks. And it was like Disneyland. It was a sea of people, and I was really disappointed. And then now here we are in February, and it's exactly the same as when we were here back in the 80s. So it's great. If you're going to come here, I would come here this time of year. So you don't have to take the tram. You get to see all the sights you want to see, and there's way less people. It's just, it's night and day. This is incredible.
Most of the people you see in waterproof boots and gear were heading up the river to hike the Narrows. It is one of Zion's most popular hikes because you're actually walking in the Virgin River, surrounded by towering canyon walls, sometimes with the water flowing up to your waist or higher. In early fall, conditions are warm and the water levels are more manageable. So that's when a lot of visitors plan their trip specifically for that experience. In winter, far fewer people attempt it. The water is pretty cold and conditions can change quickly. Most visitors stop at the Riverwalk instead. One way to explore beyond the main canyon is to drive through the Zion Mount Carmel Tunnel. The tunnel opened in 1930 and was considered an engineering feat at the time. Before this road existed, crossing Zion meant long and difficult travel. The tunnel is always controlled with one-way traffic, so cars take turns moving through in each direction. In October, that could mean long lines, about a 20-minute wait for us going up and around 10 minutes coming down. Those large windows cut into the tunnel walls weren't added for the view. They were blasted out to bring in light and fresh air and to remove debris during construction. Visiting in February made it easy to keep driving, stop at a few more viewpoints, and see parts of the park that can feel hard to reach during the busy season. Later in the week, we took a short drive to Grafton, a small ghost town just outside Zion. Grafton was settled in 1859 by Mormon pioneer families who tried to farm along the Virgin River. Although the land was fertile, Indian raids, frequent flooding, isolation, and the difficulty of making a living here eventually pushed people to move on, and the town was slowly abandoned. It's really hard to be out here in Zion and not want to go hike. I want to hike, but we're trying to make the best of it. We're trying to make a trip out of something that was entirely unplanned. We discovered the ghost town of Grafton, which has been preserved and renovated to the point of just so that you can see what was here. And it's kind of cool to imagine the hardship and the gusto with which people came out here because their church told them to. Wow, would have been pretty scary. What remains are original homes, a schoolhouse, a church, and a hillside cemetery, complete with age and cause of death, preserved simply because the town was never developed further, and with a little help from movie makers and the Grafton Heritage Partnership Project, which works towards preserving this historic site. That untouched quality is what drew filmmakers here. Grafton has been used as a filming location for several movies, most famously Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. A very famous scene with Paul Newman as Butch Cassidy and Catherine Ross as Etta Place was shot right here while the song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head played. The two of them were actually riding the bicycle throughout the scene, and Paul Newman performed most of the stunts himself. So you find yourself here recognizing buildings from movies like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And then I have to stop and go, is that what I'm impressed about? Yeah, that's kind of cool, because I have a memory of watching that movie. But what about the people that came out here from across the country because the church told them to, and the church told them to establish a place here and a farm here and a life here without understanding what the winter would be like, what the river would be like, and the fact that this town already was moved once and then had to move again, and then basically one by one they left because those things were just too hard to continue to battle against. The soil was rocky and sandy. It didn't grow things well. It's beautiful out here, of course, but you still have to be able to survive. And when surviving seems like beating your head against the wall over and over and over and over, eventually you want to go somewhere where it's easier to live. Visiting Grafton feels a bit like walking through a real-life film location, only without crowds, tickets, or time limits. You can wander at your own pace and take it all in, which made it a natural fit for how we were traveling this week.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Children die because they get dehydrated.
Mother, daughter. 14-year-old accident, the swing broke.
Both of them on the same day. The Grafton Cemetery sits above the town, and many of the headstones belong to children. Life here was isolated and often dangerous. Families faced illness, accidents, harsh conditions, and at times, violent conflict with local Native American tribes during periods of unrest in the region. Standing here, it's a quiet reminder of how uncertain daily life could be on the frontier. I'm doing a lot better. You can see this bruise that went all the way down my face is pretty much gone. Above my eyebrow here, there's no longer a cut or anything. It's completely healed. It's amazing how quickly we heal. Our intention with this video and last week's video was to show you what could happen and some idea of how quickly things can just go off the rails, and getting yourself back to something normal as quickly as you can. And that's kind of what we were able to do.
Right. We really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, we'd really appreciate it if you'd share it with your friends and family on social media. And if you're not yet a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
And as always, ring that little bell, because that way you'll be notified anytime we upload new content.
And make sure to leave a comment, that way you could be part of the conversation.
Until next time, we'll see ya.
We'll see you.
That's a wrap, roamers. If these adventures and tips are keeping you inspired, subscribe and watch another one. Your next RV tip or destination is just a click away.